call this meeting to order. We can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
The Pledge of Allegiance is to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First thing I'd like to welcome let's have our roll call.
Okay, Councilmember Witten.
I am here.
Councilmember Conover.
Present.
Councilmember Graham.
Present.
Councilmember Larson.
Present.
Councilmember Bozak.
Here.
Councilmember Rivas.
Here.
And Councilmember Jessen.
Here.
7 present.
Thank you very much. I'd like to first of all welcome our newest members, Mr. Larson, Mr. Bozak. Welcome to the team. It's going to be a wonderful 4 years of indentured servitude. Thank you for committing your lives to it. Okay, so our first thing on the agenda is the first reading. So let's have that.
Okay. Notice the taxpayers of proposed additional appropriations. Notice is hereby given the taxpayers of Porter County.
Do we have you're not the first reading for our regular meeting?
Okay.
Do we have any first reading for our? She's got it on the agenda.
No.
No,
business.
this is your first reading.
Thank you. So
You want to wait until...
We'll wait till the
regular.
5:30 meeting because that needs to be done at the advertised time. Okay, one thing before we get to the election of officers, every year I like to kind of start the year or finish the year with kind of a little state of the county update, and I think I'll do that right now, actually. Then I'm going to digress a little bit for the benefit of our new members who haven't been with us through the budget session, although I'm sure you guys have picked it up through the minutes and watching some of the meetings, but I want to kind of give everybody a feel. Just so you guys know, as we move through the year, we're going to encounter very different kinds of budgets. Some will be general fund budgets, and I don't mean to talk down to you, I just want to kind of bring you up here. Some will be budgets that are tax levy generated that come from property tax. Some budgets are standalone budgets. Their revenue is self-generated. A good example would be maybe tourism that's outside the general fund levy. Other budgets have their own tax rate. And then there are certain budgets that we get a bump to our levy to fund those budgets. That might be something like Opportunity Enterprises or Quarter Start. So if we were to decrease those budgets, they would just simply decrease our tax levy. So it wouldn't really save us any money in our budgets. It might save the taxpayers a little money, but it wouldn't do any good to saving us money to spend at the county level. So as we kind of move through the year, you're going to see a lot of talk about how much is left in this particular fund or that fund, or how does this affect the general fund, and depending on what kind of budget we're dealing with, those answers might be very different. So things that we're going to have a couple of things coming down the river here that we want to deal with in our upcoming year. Some things that are going to be a pleasure to deal with, some things that are going to be a little more difficult to deal with from a budgetary perspective. Met with the auditor for the end of the year, and we had a general fund, we had a carryover of $3.4 million, which on paper sounds like a wonderful carryover, and it is, because there have been years in this county where our carryover has been less than $100,000. So that's cutting a little bit close. Things that we probably need to be thinking about as we realize that we're starting the year in pretty good shape solvency-wise is, one is we had an incredibly good insurance year. We budgeted about $8.8 million for 2016, and our insurance ended up coming in about 7.1, give or take. So we had a really good year insurance. That helped us with the carryover. In a typical bad year, and that runs in cycles, you can expect somewhere between 10 and 11 million in claims. So had we had a bad exposure, we would be having no carryover. The most, because of our insurance and our stop loss policy, the most exposure we can have is 13 million to our insurance. Something to kind of keep in mind. That would be a particularly catastrophic year. We haven't had one of those, but in a bad year, I'd be thinking 10 to 11 million. Other things that we probably need to be aware of is that the CCD fund was cut. We budgeted $3.1 million, and it was cut to $2.4 million. Now, out of that, as you the members that were here will recall, and certainly to bring you two members into it. We typically and historically paid our ambulance contract out of the hospital principal. But as you are aware, we, through the foundation, we moved the principal, or most of it, into the foundation for investment purposes, and I'll get to that in a minute. So we needed some place to pay the ambulance contract out of it, and if you take them all together, it's about $1 million a year. So the proposal by the commissioners was to pay that out of CCD. Since that was cut to $2.4 million, I did meet with the county attorney and asked him how much of that cut are the commissioners thinking is ambulance. How much do we have left in that after-cut monies to pay our ambulance? And they said, figure that you need to find about $600,000. There's probably $400,000 left in CCD to address the ambulance contract. Another thing would be to think about is that we have to find money for the sheriff's pension, and that's a little over $1 million. Now, we've talked with the sheriff about doing things like looking at different vesting schedule and things of that nature to try to get that number down. Right now, they vest, I think, it's 7 years, and I wanted to see from the actuarial what it would be to us if they vested at 10 or 15 years, because that would reward our officers that stay, and because we have more money to give them raises and benefits, obviously. As you see here today, we had our hospital interest. We did budget against that about $2.4 million. So in our ongoing hospital interest revenue, we've allocated going into the year $2.4 million of that. About $1.3 million of that is insurance. Now that's banking on another good year. About $50,000 was Opportunity Enterprises. About $600,000 was the Family Youth Services Bureau, and about $450,000 was the Council on Aging. So we've got it already going in. If we have a good year, we're already leveraging against our hospital interest about 2.4. Other things that we need to think about is the 800 megahertz system. As you probably are aware from the commissioners and reading in the newspaper or attending their meetings, that they have entered into an agreement to start the infrastructure side of the 800 megahertz system. That's about $4.5 million. We can pay that as it stands right now over a 3-year period, interest-free. So figure, however that shakes out per year. That does not include the radio side of that. So as we move into that discussion further into the year, we'll have a better idea of what that number is going to be. So things that might free up a little bit of money is, I think, our jail security. We're spending about just a little bit south of $400,000 a year to pay off that jail security indebtedness. That will be done at the end, or let's just say the beginning of 2018. 2019. Our first payment on the 800 megahertz is January of 2018. So we have about a year of overlap between those two, but then the jail security will be done, and so we'll have a little extra money to deal with that in year 2 of the megahertz system. As you're aware, we've been pretty conservative over the last few years. The county tax rate has gone down the last 3 years. At least the county's portion of the tax rate has gone down the last few years, minimum. And that's because we've come into the year understanding that as we embark into the upcoming year, I think it's a pretty good idea to assume that we need, and in talking to the insurance consultants, we need about probably $2 million, maybe $3 million reserve funds for our insurance. So that's why we've been trying to build that reserve. I'm going to digress here a minute. And in talking with our insurance consultants, I've asked how much of the balance billing disputed amount of liability the county might be having in existing claims for our employees and family, and that number has yet to be determined. So that's out there as well. But that's what I was saying was, if we go into this year with the assumption that we don't want to leverage the hospital interest money any more to fund operations, we have to be very conservative, continue being fiscally conservative. Any appropriations we make, any middle of the year unbudgeted for expenditures that we make, are going to tap into that hospital interest. And we want to try to avoid that, I think. We have other projects that have already started. The animal shelter, as you know. Through all of this year and reducing the tax rate, we were able to give county employees a raise. We were able to fund a bigger animal shelter, build the animal shelter. As you know, the commissioners have voted to get a consultant to do some bids on the renovation of the front of this building. They estimated $1 million, but that's just an estimate. I don't know what that'll end up being, but we have to figure out if they continue to go forward with that, which needs to. We're going to have to find money for that. We've got the Expo Center renovations that we need to do. There's a South County Park that's in the works. Other things that we would like to see get done, and that's all assuming that we have another good insurance year. So I would challenge the board to continue with the fiscal conservancy. I would also challenge the board to try to deal with any budgetary increases, such as wages and things of that nature, additional personnel during the budget time. That is our best time to deal with it. That's the time that we have our best idea as to how to prioritize the money that we have at our disposal. The last thing I want to say is the foundation. So we've completed 2016 with our investments, as you are probably aware. The first 5% of earnings on our monies invested through the foundation come back to our benefit for the county funds. So we get to bring that in and do things with it that we need to do. Anything above 5% goes back into the principal, to build up the principal a little bit. And the idea of that, of course, is that we have good years and bad years. And in the good years, we build up our principal, and the 4% or 5% is a bigger number. In the state statute, there wasn't a date certain as to when we allocate that or when do we decide if we hit our 5%. So in our bylaws, investment policy, we contemplate December 31st. And we had a very good investment year last year, so we have some money sitting in cash in our investment portfolios. I would ask that we have or contemplate having a foundation meeting in February for a couple of reasons. One is I'd like for us to, as a 10-member voting board, 3 non-voting members and our treasurer as well, I'd like to have us all sort of strategize on how we want the cash earnings to come into the county. We can have some discussions about what we want to do with that money. The thought is, I don't want to budget on the come. I don't want to bet on what next year's investments are going to be. The idea is we have money come in and we know what we have to spend, and we spend that appropriately throughout the year and hopefully have another good year. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the state of the county. We are solvent. We are in really good shape, but we need to stay conservative. We need to hang on to our spending when we only need to spend. That's right, I'm a Democrat. It's hard to believe that, isn't it, Andy? And with that, election of officers. I'll take nominations for chairman. I nominate Jessen.
Second.
We don't need a second. Any other nominations? All in favor of Mike Jessen?
Aye.
Mike? You have the ship.
Here, I can direct it from this angle, can I, for now?
This is the seat, man.
Okay, thank you very much, Dan, and everyone. I appreciate everyone's vote of confidence, and I appreciate, Dan, the leadership that you provided for the council over my 2 years and beyond, and I've learned a lot and will continue to lean on you as I navigate through this office. So I appreciate all your guidance and mentorship up to now. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. I'm happy to help, and I will continue to do so.
And at this time, I'd like to ask for nominations for Vice President of the Council.
I nominate Dan Whitten.
Second.
There's a nomination on the floor and a second, whether or not it's required, to nominate Dan Whitten as Vice President of the County Council. Any discussion?
Could I just add a line, not necessarily discussion? I wanted to echo what you had to say, Mike, and Dan, I guess it might be D.C. tradition for the president to fly out on a helicopter.
Yeah, I've got Air Force One in my family.
But the county couldn't afford it, so here is your own private. It's black and it's
Executive order. Oh, I'm going to pardon a couple of people over in jail. You guys don't mind.
Thank you for your leadership, and thank you, Mike, for taking the gavel.
Oh, and that's absolutely. All those in favor of Dan Whitten being the Vice President of the County Council signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Dan is the Vice President. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
And I believe, do we have a secretary?
I think so.
Vicky.
Is that not part of the program? Okay. Congratulations, Vicki.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have an attorney's contract up for review. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion on the floor that has been seconded to have Harold Harper serve as our county council attorney. Any discussion?
Harold, I assume the contract's the same as before, right?
It is the same as has been the last, at least 2 to 5 years. Same terms.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Harold.
Thank you.
And next on the list, we have the surveyor agreement.
Make a motion to accept. Doesn't have to, but by mistake.
Oh, we can have that for a discussion.
I second the motion.
Motion on the floor, and it has a second, to retain Kevin Brightsky as the county surveyor. Any discussion? Any questions for Kevin? Any comments from Kevin?
No.
It came up to be on TV.
You left Kevin speechless?
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, staff.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have citizen appointments for a couple of boards that are currently open and pending for review. And the first one I have on my list is the Alcoholic Beverage Commission. And everyone's received the names and the applications and all of that, so I would like to entertain a motion.
I'd like to nominate Tom Swihart.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion on the floor that has a second to nominate Tom Swihart as the representative for the Alcoholic Beverage Commission. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next on the list, we have the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Nominate Mike Young, his current appointment.
Second.
Motion on the floor that has a second to reappoint Mike Young to that particular position. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And then next, as part of the reorganization, is our Peter Boa appointment.
Nominate Scott Williams by default.
Second.
Second.
He's the only one that wants it.
That speaks volumes.
There's been a motion on the floor and a second to nominate Scott Williams, the Peter Boa representative for the county council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next, we have a couple of appointments from the different EDC boards from the different communities. First of all, from the city of Chesterton.
I nominate Buck Kittredge.
Second.
Motion on the floor that has a second to reappoint Buck Kittredge to the Chesterton EDC Board. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries for Mr. Kittredge. Next, we have the same board for the city of Portage.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Mike Sarver for Portage EDC, and I'd also like to nominate Patrick McKinley for the Valparaiso EDC, since they're the only ones that apply.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second to reappoint Michael Sarver as well as Patrick McKinley for Portage and Valparaiso respectively, which noting that they are also the recommendations from the city municipalities. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion's carried. So congratulations to all of those citizen appointments. Okay, next, we move on to council appointments, to the different, or the various boards that we participate in. And the first one on my list is Community Corrections Advisory Board, which what I'd like to do is maybe say who's currently on the board, and then clarify who wants to be on the board going forward. Currently, it's Jim Biggs, which obviously no longer. I'm currently on the board, as well as Scott McClure, which he's, as part of the county commissioners, obviously, or I would assume he's not part of our appointment. So I guess would like to, and I don't know if this requires nominations and voting for each position?
Yeah.
So I'd open up the floor for nominations for the Community Corrections Advisory Board.
I'd nominate Jeff Larson for the board.
Requires a second?
Second.
Motion on the floor that has a second to nominate Jeff Larson as our representative for the Community Corrections Advisory Board. Any discussion?
So right now we have two. We have Biggs and McClure, so maybe we should have Larson and Harold, right?
I think that would make good sense.
Second.
Harold agree to that?
So that's my nomination.
Second.
Okay, so nomination, in addition to Jeff, is to have Harold Harper serve in that capacity, as well as Jeff Larson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next, we have the position to fill for our representative on NERC. Let's open up the floor for nominations.
Who's that
Who's
now?
currently on there?
Currently Sylvia.
I'd like to nominate Sylvia, if she wants it.
Do you enjoy those meetings, Sylvia?
Oh.
Sounds like a good nomination, Dan.
No, if nobody wants it, I just thought maybe a newer person would want to
Would
take
you like me to ask if there's anyone else that might be interested in that particular role?
I definitely would be.
it. Okay. You got it.
Nominate Jeff Larson.
Second.
Nomination for Jeff Larson's been seconded to be the NERC representative. All those in favor of Jeff serving that capacity signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Jeff Larson will be our representative. Next, we have the NICD board. And previously, Jim Biggs was our representative, so we need a new representative, and I'd like to open up the floor for that particular role.
I'd like to nominate Andy Bozak.
Second.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second to nominate Andy Bozak to be our representative for NICD. Any discussion?
I'd just like to ask whoever serves on that to maintain some information to us. I know that they're talking about doing some revenue gathering through their transportation district, and I think that we need to have a fairly strong voice on that one way or the other.
Right.
Any other discussion?
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Congratulations, Andy. Next, we have our representative to the Plan Commission. It has been Bob Paparad.
I nominate Mr. Jessen.
Second.
President Jessen.
Mike is good.
Do you want to be on that, Mike?
I would accept that nomination. There is a motion and a second for me to be appointed on the Planning Commission. Any additional discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next, we have the Recycling and Waste District representative.
Nominate Karen Conover.
Motion on the floor, and there's a second, I presume, if necessary, for Karen Conover to be the Recycling and Waste District representative for the council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we have the EMA appointments, which we, as a council, have two.
You want to?
Currently, Sylvia is one of our representatives, along with Jim Biggs, who obviously no longer will be.
I'd like that.
I nominate Sylvia Graham as one of them.
Is there anyone else that's interested, if Sylvia's willing to serve? Anybody else?
I will.
Jeff?
Yeah.
I'd like to, and also nominate Jeff Larson.
Combined nominations for Sylvia Graham and Jeff Larson to be on the EMA board representing the council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Porter County Council on Aging. Currently, Ms. Graham is our representative.
I'd like to nominate Sylvia.
Nomination on the floor in a second to nominate Sylvia to that position, which she has been on. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next, Juvenile Justice Advisory Board. Currently, I'm serving on that board, and I'm asking to be relieved of those duties. So that spot is open to whoever might be interested in it.
I'd like to nominate Andy for that board.
Second it.
Motion on the floor in a second to nominate Andy Bozak to the Juvenile Justice Advisory Board. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next, we have the Jail Museum Advisory Board.
It'd be great if we still had a jail museum advisory board.
Is it now defunct?
Anyway, they did away with it
Yeah.
How long has that been gone?
a while. I don't know why it's on there. I mean, we could send a couple people to hang out with each other, I guess.
I'd be all right with that.
How about we cross them off the list now and for future
I
lists?
think Kevin knows all of our phone numbers, and we know his, so we have good communication.
Yeah, that makes that one easy. That's no longer, we won't have that part of our list. Next is the Stormwater Advisory Board. Currently, Jeremy serves in that capacity.
I'm going to nominate Jeremy.
Second.
Nomination on the floor in a second to have Jeremy retain that representation on the Stormwater Advisory Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Okay, then we're moving on to the E91 Policy Board.
No, no.
That's gotta be Mike. That's what it is.
Oh, are they not, are they on the agenda by chance?
Dan appointed Alaric in his...
You are.
You are.
That doesn't require action. You are our appointment to that.
Right, yep.
And
As
you
president.
can't delegate.
I accept that appointment. Whether it's on the agenda or not, I wholeheartedly accept it. Then also the Porter County Redevelopment Commission, which I don't see on the agenda, but it's
Again,
on
it's
another
you.
sheet that I have.
It's you,
Or your designee.
or your designee.
Okay, I will wholeheartedly accept that as well, to be on the Porter County Redevelopment Commission. Okay? Now, we can move on to the county liaison positions, is that correct?
That's correct.
And I think maybe in an effort to expedite and go through this quickly, Obviously, everyone on the board has served in these capacities. If you were on the board previously, we have 2 new members that obviously have interest in certain positions, and we have a need for them to fill those liaison roles. And then what I would like to do, I guess, is just go down the list quickly and say who's on it, and you can tell me who wants to be on it, and then we'll move forward, and I would assume that doesn't require any sort of vote, just a consensus. Okay, so the list that I have starts out with adult probation, which previously it was Jim Biggs and Karen Conover. Karen, would you like to remain on that?
Sure.
Does anyone want to take Jim Biggs' spot?
I would.
And then this is something where it can be 1, 2, or 3.
Right,
Or 10,
Doesn't-
yeah.
doesn't
Or
matter.
7, yeah.
Be 7, yeah.
Anybody else want to be on adult probation? So it's Jeff and Karen. Airport was Paparad and Jessen. Anybody have a specific interest to be on that?
I'd love to fill that position on the airport.
Do you want on it, what, Dan?
So Dan and Jeff,
Okay.
and I will take myself off of that, that's fine. Animal Shelter, Rivas and Conover,
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, we could stay.
good. Assessor, Rivas and Witten.
That's fine, that's staying. No, Snyder says no, so, right now I'm feuding with the Snyders, so you might, no, that's fine.
Okay, Rivas and Witten will remain. Auditor, Graham and Rivas.
I'll stay on.
Appreciate the enthusiasm.
Yes, I would definitely would like to serve as liaison for that, great office.
There we go.
Say no.
Okay, now we have courts, circuit court, and then general courts, and then superior court, 1 through 6. And previously, it has been Dan Witten and Jim Biggs.
I'll stay on.
Dan will stay. Anybody else interested
I have interest in joining.
in all 2, 4, 6, 7 of those boards that I mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. So it's Andy and Dan. Clerk, Biggs and Witten.
I'd like to be part of that.
And Dan, you...
I could care less.
That's that enthusiasm.
I appreciate your honesty.
I don't care. You guys want to go talk to the clerk?
I think we'll leave it at Witten and Jeff Larson. Commissioners.
I would definitely like to be part of that.
Okay, currently we have Conover and Rivas. Jeff, you'd like to be added? And
Yes.
Karen, Jeremy, would you like to remain?
Yes.
Sure.
Convention, Recreation Visitor Commission, Rivas, Jessen, and Graham.
Yep.
Sylvia's in, Jeremy?
Fine.
Anybody else interested?
Do you want to stay on, Mike, or not?
I would relinquish that to you if you like.
That's fine.
Okay, just to be clear, these liaisons, not to interrupt here, Mr. Chairman, but this is just to give the elected officials a point of contact if they have an
Right.
issue.
That's exactly.
Just because you're not a liaison doesn't mean you can't contact and try
Don't
to,
do it any.
so, it's really for them. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Coroner, Graham and Conover.
Yeah, sure stay on.
E901 Public Safety, currently is Rivas and Jessen. I can relinquish my role on that. I'll have other involvements with it. Anybody else interested?
I'll stay. I'll be on.
I'll fill the other spot.
And so Rivas, Sylvia, and Jeff?
Yep.
So are you getting all these?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great, thank you. Election Board, Conover, Rivas?
Sure.
Continues?
Sure.
Good job last year.
EMA, Graham and Witten.
I'll stay on.
Again, if anybody else wants it. Wherever you hear the name of it, jump in.
Well, it was the 2 EMA council appointments.
Graham and Larson.
Sounds like a great combination.
That's fine.
They meet Thursday.
You and I? Yeah, we can make that work.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there you go, you're out, yeah.
I'm out, just like that. This is my night. Go ahead.
You're throwing it off here. Where were we? Environmental, Graham and Witten.
It's okay.
Okay, Dan's in.
Anyone?
Congratulations, Dan. Expo Center, currently is Jessen Biggs.
I'd like to be on that, please.
Jeff?
I'd like to join as well.
Andy? I will relinquish my duties on that one as well. So Jeff and Andy, anybody else? Extension Office was Biggs and Graham.
I'd like to stay on it.
Anybody want to join Sylvia on that? Okay. If not, that's fine.
4-8.
Facilities,
No.
I don't know what that means.
so is there someone that wants to specifically be the representative of facilities?
Which is probably going to be the first, because I don't think we've had one before, so.
That's my background, so I might as well take it.
Okay, Jeff, facilities, perfect. Family Youth and Service Bureau, Rivas and Jessen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stick with that one as well. Anybody else interested? Not Health Department, Conover, Graham.
I'll stay on it.
Stay. Highway, Graham and Biggs.
I'd like that.
Okay, anybody else want to join? Sylvia and Jeff. HR, Graham and Jessen.
Stay on it.
Okay, and
You gonna stay?
Job last year on that together.
You interviewed her.
anybody else interested in participating? Okay, that's, it'll be Sylvia and myself. ITS, Conover, Rivas.
Sure.
Stay. The 40 Court, Biggs and Witten.
Whoever.
They go to the other, we should do that with the other courts.
Andy?
So,
Andy and, okay, there we go. Good idea. Jail, Sheriff, and Sheriff's Garage, Rivas and Witten and Jessen. I will bail out of that one.
I'd like to be part of that.
Rivas and Witten in. Rivas, Witten, Larson.
Well, they're a law firm.
Juvenile detention, Biggs and Jessen. I will relinquish my duty on that one. So
I have interest in both detention and probation, just to cover the next one as well.
Andy for juvenile detention and probation, and anybody else interested at this point?
Like your enthusiasm, Andy.
Memorial Opera House, Witten and Jessen.
I'd like to take part in that if you guys have...
Since I'm the only one who's actually been on stage in the last year, I think you have to stay.
I'll be on that one too.
Gonna add a couple
I'll be on
extras.
that one also.
Okay, Sylvia. Yeah, I'll relinquish my duty. So we have Dan, of course. I mean, that's natural.
Natural.
Jeff and Sylvia for the Opera House. Okay, Museum, Biggs and Conover.
I'll stay.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I'll go on it.
Sylvia?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Opportunity Enterprise, Rivas and Witten.
I think I'll stay on that one since I'm probably most familiar with their funding.
Okay,
Who's that?
makes sense.
Okay.
Jeremy, you interested in staying?
Sure.
Okay, Parks, Rivas, Jessen, Graham.
I'll stay on it.
I'd like to be involved in the parks if there's a spot.
Jeff on the Parks, Sylvia said yes.
Yep.
Jeremy's in? Okay, I'll stay on that as well. Planning Commission Building Department was Paparad and Graham.
I'd love to be part of that.
Okay.
You're in. And then Sylvia, you're in as well? Okay. Portage Township Assessor, Rivas, Witten.
Yep.
That's fine.
Combination for
Portage Stark, Witten and Graham.
Yes.
Anybody can jump in.
Print Shop.
Andy.
I'll take the print shop, where's it at?
Exactly. He asked about it earlier, so that's why I figured.
Okay, there you go. Prosecutor's Office, Biggs and Witten.
I think I'll stay on that because of the courts.
Okay.
I'd like to take that position also, Mike.
Jeff. So Jeff and Dan.
Yeah.
Public Defender, Biggs and Jessen.
I'll take big.
So Jeremy.
And I might as well pick that one up too, Mike. Unless you want to stay on there.
No, you can have it. Jeremy and Jeff.
We're trying to let your load down a little bit over there, I think.
That's very much appreciated. Recorder, Graham and Conover.
I'll stay.
I'll stay.
Soil and Water, Graham and Jessen.
I'll stay.
Stormwater Management Board is, we don't,
We don't have that one, do we?
Stormwater is new, and I don't know if you guys.
Isn't that the one we put?
Well, but we have an appointment.
You do have an
Yeah, you might as well, because you're the appointment.
Building and planning, please, and stormwater, just combine it into development stormwater management.
Development.
Revis, I say Revis. He's our
Yeah,
appointment to
because
that
he's the-
advisory board.
Right.
Drainage,
One department now.
yeah.
So he's already appointed then.
Okay, so that takes care of that, right?
Continue on that path, I suppose.
Survey, Revis and Graham?
I'll stay on.
That's an exciting liaison. A lot of action.
Oh, yes, I would definitely like to continue to be involved with Kevin.
Treasurer, Graham and Whitten?
I'll stay on.
Dan still in?
Yeah.
Veteran Service, Whitten and Jessen?
Unless you want to stay on that, Mike, I'd like to be part of that.
I'll do it, too. Me being a veteran and all.
I'll let Whitten and Jessen do that, no problem. I'll back off. Voters registration, Conover Revis?
Stay.
That's always a hoot, yeah.
That's a good one, now that is a good
Yes.
one.
Weights and measures, last but not least.
You can add me onto that, too.
Okay, and that's, the list as I see it.
Nice to be retired.
Hell with that.
I did that when I first came.
And enjoy, you've got all those,
We adjourn to the next meeting.
yeah, anything else on this particular meeting's agenda? I don't think we need.
Attorney's report.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion on the floor to adjourn, we'll reconvene in 5 minutes.